Hi, everyone. Rudy Robertson, Marketing Communications Manager with the Devereux Center for Resilient Children. I recently sat down with my colleague Rachel Wagner, Early Childhood Mental Health Specialist and National Trainer with the Devereux Center for Resilient Children, because I wanted to really ask her about this message that our team has been putting out, what we like to call an invitation to center resilience, and really kind of dissect what that means and really dive into the message that Rachel herself wrote on behalf of our team. So we hope you have a listen and we hope you do accept the invitation to center resilience with us. So, Rachel, a few years ago, you wrote a message on behalf of our team here at the Devereux Center for Resilient Children, and that message was an invitation to center resilience. What does that even mean?
It means when hard things happen, when the unthinkable happens, that when we feel completely overwhelmed, maybe we try centering resilience as a way to get us grounded. I think we see as citizens of this world, a lot of hard things happen. We see a lot of disastrous things happen. And even when they're not happening to us, and sometimes they do, we experience them vicariously with a communal and collective concern for our fellow humans. And so these feelings can be really overwhelming. They can live with us even when we don't realize they're there, and they can create inside of us some hopelessness and some despair. And centering resilience is this one thing we can try to do to shift some of that hopelessness and despair into some momentum, into something that can help us to start to regenerate and feel a little bit better.
It also mentions the importance of centering our relationships, initiative, self-regulation, and internal beliefs. Can you elaborate on that part of this centering message?
So, a lot of times when we are overwhelmed, when we're dancing with hopelessness and despair, it's hard to know where to start. And so the term centering really comes from that idea that we all just need to find a focus point. We all need to get centered on something. When the world is spinning and there's so much going on, centering is that practice of finding a focus point. And we have found at the Center for Resilient Children that picking one of the key protective factors to center can be extremely helpful, can be extremely useful as a starting point when you don't know where to start.
And if someone who is like me, admittedly, is unsure of where or how to start, what do you suggest?
Mm, I think it's different for every person, and that's why it's important for you to pick the protective factor that's sort of calling to you. So it might be working on relationships, it might be focusing on your self-regulation, your self-control. And I find sometimes that once I've picked one, I look for inspiration. And so when we think about inspiration around relationship building, one of the quotes that I find to be very centering is this remembering that we belong to one another, that we belong to each other. This is from Mother Teresa, and being reminded that we belong to each other as a global society, as interconnected human beings, can maybe start to shift the way that I view my neighbor, the way that I interact with somebody on the bus, the way that I sort of interact with my neighbors when I'm out walking my dog. And so when I have sort of a centering sort of quote like we belong to each other sort of moving through my mind, it helps us to uh, remember to make those little small connections with our fellow human beings. Now, if you want to center initiative, one of the quotes that really speaks to me is that no act of kindness is too small. Because I think when we're trying to sort of inspire or evoke more initiative out of ourselves, the task can seem overwhelming. And so to remind ourselves that just the smallest act of kindness can make an enormous difference and it can create some momentum in our lives. Now, if we want to work on self-regulation, that's really about our feelings. And one of the quotes that inspires me the most is to remember that feelings are visitors, and they will come and they will go. And I think a lot of times we're afraid of the hard feelings that come our way. And so to just remember that they're a visitor. If we let them in, it doesn't mean they're going to move in and stay there forever. So remembering that if that a feeling visits upon us, usually to teach us a lesson. And the quicker we allow that lesson to come forward, the quicker, especially the hard emotion, will be on its way. And then last but not least, if we want to pick internal beliefs as the protective factor we want to center for our own resilience, one of my internal beliefs, and one that I think really sort of speaks to a lot of us who work in helping professions and work with children, is the belief that they are all our children, that every child that we have the honor of supporting and working with belongs to us, and that we would treat someone else's child the way that we would treat our own. And that can be incredibly centering and inspiring, because it helps to sort of remind us that, again, back to relationships, we all belong to each other.
So when we're thinking about today, could you offer a few ideas on what anyone might be able to do today that will nurture their resilience?
I'm always hesitant to tell people any suggestions because I think the best one is the one that you come up with yourself. So I'll give a few different ideas and maybe they'll spark something. Maybe you can pick one that you like, or maybe that it will inspire you to find one that is more meaningful to you. But when we're sort of staying in that vein of ordinary magic, it is the little things like smiling at someone you don't know, making a little small talk. I always say small talk leads to big talk. There is research that shows that people who make small talk on buses and trains, instead of putting their AirPods in and sticking to themselves, those people who are making what research calls weak ties end up feeling an overall better sense of well-being. So just smiling at someone you don't know can start to generate some resilience inside of yourself. Maybe sending a little message to someone that you keep forgetting to connect with, somebody who you love and adore, but you just let fall off your radar. You know what? Sometimes it helps to make some sort of contribution, even if it's $1 or $5 to a cause that you care about. It doesn't have to be a lot. Remember, Ann Maston reminds us it's ordinary magic. It's little things that can start to boost our mood and our sense of hope. Maybe make one phone call. The art of phone calls is sort of dying and lost, but hearing the voice of someone we love can start to create some resilience. We know that breath work and taking bigger and deeper breaths, getting more oxygen to our brains can support our resilience. So just one extra minute of some good deep breathing, or even going for a walk. Walking and physical activity can help us to complete a stress cycle. And even if you walk for 11 minutes in a circle, it will help you to do all the things that your body needs to get to a more regulated space. And if all of that feels too big for you, just go ahead and take a breath and notice what you're feeling. Instead of fighting it, let it in and just notice it. The sooner you notice it, the sooner it will be on its way.